What's up everybody, this is Derek here and welcome to PUBG Mobile 0.7.1, the newest update for the Chinese servers that just launched. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new on-screen customizable button options for 0.7.1 because they are more comprehensive and allow you to do more things in customizing your user interface to your liking. So we're going to go ahead, click on the top right of the screen, little gear icon to bring up the settings. We're going to go down to our third tab, and then we're going to click on Customize, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. So you can see here that compared to previous versions of the game, there are a ton more options to customize. So you can see up here, we've got 1, 2, and 3. Those correspond to which sort of button layout you want to use, whether you want to use a fixed fire button, a floating fire button, and more. So we're going to stay on 3 just so I can show you they're the same for each, though you have the option to customize other than on interface 2 you have a floating fire button, so that fire button isn't movable. It is still there, but it moves around, so it doesn't really matter as much where you put it. So all right, let's go ahead and start with this. We've got our screen showing our teammates' health and our health, as well as follow, which is under number 4 right now. That is if you want to follow them into battle, if you're playing and you want to drop together. I believe that was something that was introduced in 0.5.0, I think. So we've got that. We've got our backpack here. Oh, down here we have our toggle for third-person perspective and first-person perspective. This toggle only works if you're playing on a third-person perspective or TPP server. That's what most people are used to playing on. If you're playing on the dedicated first-person server, which you need to be level 15 or higher to enter, then you're not going to see this toggle button here because, well, there's no option to jump back to the third person on a first person only server. That would kind of break the game. So you've got your left fire button. So this is the fire button that could always be on, never be on, or only on when you're scoping in. Now we've got our our joystick, our virtual joystick, and you can see up here now we have an option to change our auto run or auto sprint button location. So if you move it down here, what that means is that you'll be able to more easily drag auto sprint on. I'm somebody who likes to enable it a lot, so this is really good for me. I'm gonna probably leave it like near the shorter end, maybe even down here. And like I said, what that means is that if you want to auto sprint, you don't have to slide your finger up as far to get it to catch and start auto sprinting. If you're noticing that you're using it too often or using it when you want to move forward and you don't want to auto sprint, then you can move this up like that, and now you have to drag it an insane amount of distance in order to toggle on that auto sprint. So that's cool. That's something that's new. Next up, you can customize, let's see if we can get that little button there. Let's move this guy out of our way for now. So this is our new scope button. So for the 8x scope or the new 6x scope, which I'll be making a video on very soon, you can see how you can now select that toggle and slide your scope between 3 to 6 times or 4 to 8 times. So very, very cool that you can move that around because especially if you're using the claw grip or you're using L1R1 triggers, this the default location for this slider was too high and it was a little easy to hit it when you were trying to hit other things and difficult to hit it when you want to hit it. So hopefully that makes sense. So there we go. We're just gonna kind of move everything over to the side. I'm not setting up an actual configuration that I'm going to play with right now. I'm just showing you all the different customizable things. And for each of these now, you can adjust the size, and you can adjust the size more than you could before. So now they're giving you better options as far as increasing the size to some insane amount or shrinking it more. And this is super useful for people who are playing on tablets who have large screens, who might want large buttons, and before the buttons were too small even at their largest amount. So this is the button size, the toggle that I'm moving right now. As you can see, the button is moving around. If you want to fine-tune button location, you can use the directional pad, the virtual directional pad here. And then you have your opacity over here. So if you want to hide a toggle, you can drop it to 10% opacity. And then this little arrow toggle underneath the opacity slider is just to hide that if you want to put a button up there. So, and then along the top of the screen, the first one, So you've got your buttons 1, 2, and 3, your different configurations that you could play with. Like I said, it's like a fixed fire button, a floating fire button. And then along the top of your screen, you have like exit, and then it'll ask if you want to save your changes or not, if you want to discard them. The middle button is reset, to reset to the default. So you can see, we'll hit that real quick. Now we're back to the defaults. We just erased what we just did. And the yellow button on the right is to save your configuration. So that's what all those do. Now we've got our healing items, so if you want to move that around, and just like before, or now new for this version, is that you can resize these guys too, so you can resize everything. We're just going to slide everything to the left just so I can show you. Here is your revive toggle, or your revive button, so if you have a down teammate, you can revive them. Here is your primary weapon button. Here is your secondary weapon button, and now of course you do have that dedicated pistol slot, so you can move that around here if you want to stick that up there or over wherever you want to. You can make it bigger if you want to, an entertainment mode, the sniper mode. You might want this to be larger because you might want to jump to that weapon quickly while you're playing the match if you notice somebody's close by and you want to engage them with a pistol. Next, you've got your health and your boost bars, which I believe are fixed, so you're not allowed to move that around. I'm tapping on it right now. Of course, you can't see that, but I'm tapping on it right now, and I can't select it, so I'm pretty sure that that is fixed still. Next, you've got your throwables, your grenades, and your Molotov cocktail, so that's there. And your melee weapons. You've got your, oh man, this is awesome. So this is something that I really wanted to see for a long time. This is the option to customize where your loot window pops up, as well as the loot button. So now when you kill somebody and you want to loot their equipment, you can actually move around and resize this button because it was too high for me and it was rather difficult to hit. So that's cool to see that they brought that. You also have the option, so this is your open or close door button, so you can move around that guy. Next, you've got your, this is your driving button. So if you want to drive a vehicle, get in and drive, get out, change your seat, that is over here. So that's cool that you can do that now too. Here is your pickup. So this is if you're in a building and you want to turn off, if you want to either collapse or expand your items around you. I like to collapse this when I'm fighting people because then I don't get the items that I'm running over popping up on screen while I'm fighting people, and that's just a pain in the butt. So that's that. You've got your eye tool, so your free look tool. You can now move that around. You can resize that if you want to make it. I'm going to make it mine a little bit bigger probably, make it a little bit easier to access that, because that's something super powerful to use. Even in first person, you still have that advantage to be able to look to the side, look around you. Here is your auto run toggle or auto sprint toggle. Now you can move this and you can make it smaller or bigger. I don't tend to use this that much, especially because over here, like I said, we can adjust, excuse the layout, but you can adjust how sensitive your auto run is depending on how much you slide up to lock it onto auto sprint. And I feel like with that advantage, I don't have to worry about this button really, because I'm going to be more so using that virtual joystick to control that. Next, you've got reload. That's the same as before. You've got crouch, prone, jump. What else do we have? We have our fire button, of course, super important. And then we have our ADS, or aiming down scope. I'm not used to seeing it over there, but that has always been customizable. Here is your exit button. So if you want to exit a vehicle, that's nice that you can move that around. That was in an annoying position before. And here's your messaging button. So if you want to do your quick, I forget what they're called because I don't ever use them, but like quick commands or whatever, you can use them through this interface panel. And just like anything else, you can change the opacity, you can change the size, and you can change the location. And then finally, you've got your mini map. So mini map, you can make it bigger, you make it smaller, and you can change the opacity just like anything else. Hit that button on the top, the gray one, to reset to the default, which is pretty decent. And I forgot about the peek buttons, so you have your left and your right peek over here, and I think that's it. So hopefully this video gave you an idea of how customizable the interface is after the 0.7.1 update. It is much more customizable and much easier to adjust the virtual buttons to your liking and your play style. So if you're playing with L1R1 triggers, if you're playing with claw grip, if you're playing on a tablet, now you don't have to rely on that default configuration, which might not be the best for you. Now you can customize it to how you enjoy playing. So my name's Derek G. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up to help the channel grow, and consider subscribing if you haven't already for tons more PUBG Mobile content. If you have any suggestions for future videos, definitely leave those in the comments down below because I do read them all. And thank you so much again for watching. I hope to see you on the battlefield soon or in my Discord, which I'll also leave a link to down below.